All right, getting ready to start this tonight. Let's go live. Hello, everybody who is joining me tonight, and hopefully we can get this sculpt completed and get it ready to print. So tonight I'm going to continue doing work on. Oh, Juiceps is now hosting. Thank you. Thank you for the hosting. Um, Try to get this one pretty much all wrapped up so I can start printing it this weekend and get this angry boyo over here. Oh, look at that. Another subscription. Thank you, Frazzy. All right, so what I did the other night that I did not get to show you guys, what I did was I actually joined all the pieces. Oh, Frazzy, you've been subscribed for 4 months. Thank you so much. Currently on a 2-month streak. Heck yeah! Thank you, thank you. All the subscriptions actually really help. This is really cool. Been doing this for a little bit, and I'm actually really liking how much I can work and talk and do everything through Twitch, and especially with the 3D stuff, it's worked out really well because I can come home and continue doing work, but it's a little different than just sitting at work after hours gluing things. So it's a little break, but it still works, which is good. Thank you, Giuseppe's. The current model that I have that I'm using to display my face is by Caribrew, and he does really good work. I love his stuff. All right, so okay. So I joined all the pieces together. Well, the ones that I wanted to join. I didn't join the sphere that's inside that I'm using for the eyes. I'll show you. So last time when we were looking at all the pieces here in my subtools, so you can see them over there, I have the main head, which actually has all the pieces still divided out, and I'm actually going to click on it and show you. So see how all these pieces, I was starting to blend them all in together. I made it all one giant mesh, and then this way I was able to join all the pieces that were separate into one mesh by using the remesh button. So you can see here in geometry, was it in geometry? No. Geometry, I use it to divide. Subtool. It's in right there. See where it says remesh all right there? I'm circling it here on the side. This area here, this button, you choose the resolution you want to remesh it in and how much polish, and you can, raise this as much as you want. I just kind of throw it in the middle, and then I go over the layers, over the skin, and just kind of smooth it and build up on it. So that's kind of how I join all the pieces. I just make sure that all the pieces are in a single layer, and when I hit remesh, it'll say remesh all, and it'll remesh everything that is visible. So if you don't want to remesh something, like I have the nose separate, you can see right here, I can turn it on and off. The nose, I just turned it off like that. And then when I did the remeshing, the nose disappeared. And then it did not get meshed in, I guess, with everything else. So I'll show you here. See, the other head's in there. You can kind of see it. Let me turn this one off. So this is what we had last time, where I had done the upper muzzle and the lower muzzle in different pieces. And the nose is in a different piece. And the thing that's inside for the eye is just another sphere. I just have that in there. It's more for me. It doesn't really do a whole lot. It just kind of covers the eye area. So so when I'm sculpting, it's just not distracting. But this is how I started off this sculpt. A really simple way of doing this. This was a sphere that got stretched out, created into this shape. This was another sphere, did that as well. And then the sphere for the nose that got altered, and then the sphere for the main circle. So it's a lot of intersecting geometry, and I couldn't just grab this piece and just start like, squishing it onto this. I needed to create a whole new mesh that covered the face. So when you go down here and you press remesh all, it'll remesh everything. And then that way, instead of it having that skin, it had this skin, which is that one. So it's a little different because I was pulling on stuff up here and I started building up a little bit more. And all these strokes are me building up the clay on the head. So that's kind of how I create the new mesh and then start building from there. So the main one is still under there. For some reason I was like, I hate this, and I want to remesh it again. I can. It saves all that information. So that's how I start these, because I wanted to blend all the pieces together so I can continue working on the skin itself, the mesh itself. And this funky brush, as you can see, I have an alpha up here that's a square. So when I start drawing on this, I'll show you, it creates these strokes. And because I pressed X on both sides, it's going to do it on both sides. And this is a clay buildup brush, as you can see here on the top. So every time I press on it, and because I'm using a tablet, the harder I press, the more clay gets piled on. So I usually do this to kind of get the shape that I want. I don't worry about the details just yet. I just kind of start doing this until I have built up the area the way I want it. And then I go in and I start smoothing. And this process, I do it quite a few times. And the sphere that's here for the eyes, it's in a different layer, so I'm not affecting it while I'm building stuff up, which is a good thing. So it's just like if you're working with Photoshop or any art program, it's good to have a layer where you have like your ink work and your your colors and everything. So I kind of do the same thing with Zbrush. I treat it like an art program. And then I press Shift and I go in and I start to smooth the areas. And right now I have intensity at 100. I can definitely lower it. So when I press Shift, it turns into blue, because that means I have it in smooth. You can see, I'm going to put my brush over here. You can see how that changes to a smooth brush. And if I let go of Shift, it goes back to clay buildup. So it's actually a really neat thing, because if I'm not pressing Shift, I can go here and just continue building up clay. And then I want to clean it up, and I just press Shift. And this actually speeds up my process a lot. You can make the alpha for this a different shape. I actually really like the square. It just really works for me. Because when I'm working with real clay, I kind of just glob stuff on the same way I'm doing on this one. I'm using the move brush to kind of move the shapes around. Sometimes I'll make the draw size a lot smaller so I can really go in there and get more detail. I'll jump through a lot of brushes just because it's the way I work. I see something and then I want to change it. I'm actually going to add another piece of intersecting geometry inside the mouth. Because I usually do the mouth somewhat closed. I mean, the mouths are still open, it's just that they have a piece of geometry inside when I was printing them. But I might actually do this one with the mouth like open. But I'm going to intersect some planes so it's really flat in there when I print this piece out. Just to test something a little different. If you don't have a tablet, I highly recommend one. I'm using an Intuos 5, a small one, for sculpting, and it helps because I go back and forth with using my keyboard to find the brushes that I want, and using the tablet to do all the actual sculpting. The brushes that you're going to see me use are pretty much my standard brushes that I use all the time. The one called the Damn Standard, the Flatten, and Clay Buildup and Move are probably my most used. And Smooth by default, of course, by pressing Shift. I've been really excited about getting a grumpy dog cast going, since I love making grumpy dogs. So I thought this would be fun to do and to actually record the process on what I do to make these sculpts. The nice thing with working on the computer is I don't have to worry about the clay getting too hard for me to work with, which sometimes can be a problem. I use a lot of monster clay, and I have to constantly heat it because I don't know if my hands are just too weak or what's going on, but I struggle a lot trying to get it soft enough unless I've heated it up quite a bit before. No, you have to press X to mirror the strokes. So see how it has both little red dots? If I press X again, which I'm going to do right now, it has one dot. So if I were to make a stroke here, it wouldn't affect this side because you only see the one dot. Once I press X again, it activates symmetry. And because I'm carving this to print, I want it to be the same on both sides. But no, you don't have to have it symmetrical. Yes, so it toggles it for you, which is convenient. I was just increasing the size of the sphere that's inside for the eye, since I'm using it as kind of like a key in a way, just so I know what's going on in there. Cool. The nice thing is, I mean, with it being toggled on, you don't have to worry about symmetry. And that is pretty much the best thing about 3D, because I worry about making one side and I'm not spending hours upon hours trying to make sure that both sides match. Which is why most of the time doing stuff in clay took me forever, because I was unsure if it was symmetrical enough. And a lot of times I thought it was, and then I would take it to the mirror. I'd look at it, because that's a really easy way to tell if it's wrong. And it was very lopsided. So when you've spent hours upon hours on something, sometimes it can really be disheartening when it almost feels like no matter what you're doing, you are not making it symmetrical enough. So with 3D, you kind of solve that. Well, you do solve that problem completely, unless you have symmetry turned completely off, which I don't know why you would want to do that if you're making a sculpt to print and you need both sides to be the same. And because these are going to be printed, the details don't have to be insane because it's going to be covered in fur. If this was something that I was going to paint, then I would sit here and do a lot more details, but and I'll flatten the back too, even though I'm going to cut it later. I did raise this area a bit more, so it looks a little forced out, but it's just going to make it easier for me when I do the cast to just have that little bit of extra space here. So I'll probably build up the eyebrow here so it blends in a bit more so it's not so bumpy, but that's more so it's just easier for me to cast it. You have more space. Plus, if you're worried about symmetry, if you think the app messes up, you can split the mesh down the middle and add a mirror modifier. Yeah, you definitely can. Usually, because I put this in Cura, I split it in half anyways because it's easier for me to monitor my printer if I do a half and half print. And I just split it anyway, so I mean, it doesn't matter. It's always going to be mirrored the exact same way. So no symmetry issues, and I can't complain. Yeah, there's so many pluses with 3D. Apart that it's not messy, that's probably the biggest thing. Oh, let me turn on the fan. This computer really heats up the room. But it's not messy, which is a good thing. So you can work on this wherever. Even my little laptop will handle ZBrush just fine, which is really cool. So I do a lot of ZBrush work. I have been doing it more now. I can do it on the go. And if you're looking to get into this program, I definitely recommend looking at tutorials on YouTube. There are so many on how to use this program correctly and how to make it make sense. Because when you jump into this program at first, it's a little scary, it's a little weird, but it really does make a lot of sense when you kind of know where stuff is. And I'm still discovering what everything does, but the basic knowledge that I have for it works really well for what I'm doing. I like to use the flatten brush a lot, as you can see. I was starting to do something kind of weird here last night, but I am not going to go ahead with it. Where I was trying to kind of divide this out a bit, but I'm actually going to build it up because I rather the print have this like gradual come down like this because it's a little bit easier to fit your chin. But I want to build up this area on the side for the cheeks a little bit more. So the max size that my printer bed can do is a really good size for a suit head. So I'm going to go ahead and do the max size for this one. And this whole back area gets cut off anyways, so I'm not too concerned on this. Probably just gonna flatten this a bit so it doesn't take up a ton of space when I'm printing it. And after I'm done sculpting on this program where I'm pretty happy with what I have, I take this into Mesh Mixer, which is a free program. And I'm pretty sure it's by Autodesk, I'm pretty sure. And that program actually helps me see any errors I might have before I go printing this object. It actually will tell you what's wrong with it and fix it for you. A lot of stuff I leave in an auto mode because the auto is pretty smart, and it will read all the like imperfections. It'll give you a heads up, hey, there's some weird intersecting geometry, you may not want to do this. And what I do with the intersecting geometry issue, because remember I have things shoved into other things, and even though I created a new mesh, I mean the nose is still intersecting, and then there's going to be some other issues. The mesh isn't going to be clean. So I take it into Mesh Mixer and I turn the object into a solid object. And then I take I take like the back off and everything, and then I inspect it. It usually does come out completely hollow, and then I do something kind of funky to create a wall around it. I extrude it out, and it works really well because I can make the wall as thick or as thin as I want. It's a weird little program, but it works really well, especially if you're going to be doing a lot of 3D printing. And that's one of those that I'm still learning how to use, but I know how to use it enough to help me make better prints, which is always nice. So definitely, if you don't have Mesh Mixer, I suggest you get it if you're going to be printing objects, because it's such a lifesaver. It actually told me I had an issue with the teeth that I was printing on my resin printer, and I thought, well, you know, I'm sure it's fine. I'll try to run it anyways, and it was right. It actually did bring up an issue that I had, And I ran it anyways, thinking, nah, my print looks fine. It should be fine. The object's fine. I don't know why it's saying that. It was correct. I was doing something really wrong, and I should have followed what it wanted me to do, but I didn't because I was being stubborn. But it's a good program. It's a really solid program. And it's free, which is crazy. I don't understand how the program's free since it's so good. I mean, I could say the same thing about Blender. Blender's a really good program too. Very different than this one, even though it does have a sculpting feature. So if you don't want to pay for Zbrush, it's a very good alternative. And what I'll probably do is design the teeth that would go in here afterwards. I'm not going to do it like right now because I'm not worried about what goes inside right now. Let me clean this area here. But I can definitely design all the other parts that go in it anytime pretty much. The nice thing about 3D is, I mean, this file, you can do this and look at it from like every angle and you don't have to get your hands dirty. Always a big plus. Blender is so good. Blender is very good. I need to spend more time with it. Because I definitely want to use it a lot more. Making sure I'm pretty happy with this muzzle. And making sure the person can actually see. Yeah, the thing about Blender is, so I learned 3D on Maya, and Blender's very much like that. But I haven't used Maya in a very long time since once you're no longer a student, you don't get a student discount for the program. So I stopped, subscribing to it. And I needed something that I could do more organic modeling and not break the bank. And for a while, Zbrush did not have the option to pay per month, so I didn't even bother with Zbrush either because I didn't know what to do. I mean, it's just like, what's a good alternative that isn't going to be crazy expensive? And Sculptress was that for a little bit, but Sculptress is also super duper limited in what you can do. And I wanted more, and then I saw that Zbrush had a monthly, fee, and you didn't have to pay the whole thing at once, which was awesome because that's what stopped me before, and that's what I'm doing now. So I'm really grateful to do that. If you do buy the 6-month subscription, you do end up, I think, getting like pretty much a month for free if you do the math. I'm still doing the monthly because at first I wasn't sure, like, oh, am I going to use this program a whole lot, or am I just going to do some sculpts for a month and then stop for like 5 months and not do anything? But I've been using it so much that, I mean, I definitely would benefit from just doing the 6-month subscription than the monthly, because I genuinely love this program. Like, really love this program. It does so much for me. And I can't recommend this program more than I already do, because it is just amazing. And like I said, I'm really, really new to it. So, I mean, I'd say give me a year on this, and then hopefully I can wow people a little bit with this one. Because I like it that much. I really, really do want to get great at this program. Because right now, what I consider is like, I'm pretty much like sketching on this program because I'm doing like the super basic stuff on it. But I have way more control with it than I do with Sculptress. I think Sculptress is, I mean, Sculptress is the program that really got me back into 3D. And I'm really happy I found that program, and it just really kind of kicked me into high gear. And I definitely wanted to do more 3D stuff, and it did. I mean, it really did push me into wanting to make more. So I'm very happy I found it. Yeah, I'm much happier with the shape there. I'm kind of trying to push this in more because when you fur these things, so the thing that's showing underneath is that sphere that was for the eyes. Just right there. I can just kind of move it and poke it around. It's literally just inside. It doesn't do anything, it's more just for me. But the more of a ledge that you give this, a little bit better, because remember, when you add fur, a lot of these details will disappear. So sometimes when you're doing these, it's better to think, well, okay, exaggerate it a little bit more than usual, because the fur will really, really blend some of these parts in, and you just won't see anything. I'm doing like little micro changes here and there. I'm trying to see if I like it better, if the eye is more open and this is more angular. I do the same exact thing when I'm carving heads. It's like, oh, maybe I could move this, and it's like, that'll look better. But I also don't want to just do like one look and then I'm just stuck with that one look. So definitely want to build up the eyebrow up a little bit more. So I think I'm going to, so it blends into this back a bit. So we're going to go back to our clay buildup. And we're going to start adding, I'm going to add it from here and kind of go back. Because remember, I'm going to fit this on a person's head. So this area here, I want it to be a little bit higher because it's not just going to have some rando peak on the top. I noticed that with the first print that I did. It fits my head just fine, but I mean, my head's not huge. And if I'm going to print these, I would like to have a bit more space. So the first one that I did, I'm actually altering it with real clay to give it a bit more space, which is fine. But I want to be able to do that right off the bat, like get the size a little bit more accurate, well, at least bigger, so it fits more people compared to it just fitting me and people that are smaller than me. So there we go. There's a little bit better there. So we'll continue building. I'm just checking to make sure that I haven't put too much. And hey, the one thing that I also love that this is a computer, you can do Control Z and it will go back. You and smaller than you, that's a short list. Yeah, well, for my head, I mean, I have a 23-inch head, and my head's pretty long. I have a pretty oval face, so that's good. At least, like, I know, like, mine's like not just like a tiny face. And 23 and a half inch, like, circumference, like, measured above my eyes. I mean, that's not tiny either. But I rather it fit more people than just, you know, a few. I want it to fit a lot of people. When I'm doing these strokes, a lot of the time I kind of just, I'd almost follow like what fur texture would do, or like fur goes away from the face. But I think it's because I'm just used to building stuff up like that. But even when I build it up in like with real clay, I do the same thing. And of course this is going to be a grumpy boy carve, not happy boy. I want to do a really toony, like happy one too. And once I'm pretty happy with the shape, I'll go in there and I will use the flatten tool and make some areas a little more angular. I like to make it a little more angular around the eyes. I like the cheek tops to be a little more angular as well, just because like when I lay the fur and stuff, I can make it come out and then make the bottom fur go up, and it gives it this nice little peak on the side, which is cool. So I'm starting to see more and more people do 3D prints for suits, and it's actually really cool to see that, to think 3D printers are actually really affordable now compared to what they were before. And you can print in a much larger format than you could in the past, instead of you having to piece like 10 little pieces together to make something. So it's really neat to see the evolution of printers. I mean, this is the first year I've owned something large, and I didn't think I was able to have something like that or even put it together. I was terrified to put this thing together. I don't know why, but I was. But I am so happy I got it, thanks to Frazzle, who recommended the printer. Because it actually works and I don't have to worry about it setting my house on fire or anything like that, which is good. I mean, kind of knock on wood that nothing goes wrong. Yeah, the assembly was actually what I was terrified of, because I thought, well, I'll probably put it together wrong, and then I'm going to complain that the something's wrong with the printer, and it's my fault and not, like, the manufacturer's fault. So that was more like the, I don't trust myself, I might do something dumb. And then I realized that the printer itself is actually really easy to put together, and especially when they said that 95% of it was already put together. They were not joking. 95% of it is put together. I think it took me longer, being confident that I had actually put the pieces together, and I was reading things like 5 times over just to make sure that I connected the right things right, and it was really easy. So even a printer that's not assembled, this is definitely a-okay for people who are not super savvy putting machines together. It's not as scary. I like scared myself for no reason. I think I want to pull this brow out a bit more. But it is definitely one of those printers that it's a good option for the people that maybe want something that is not from Creality, because I think there's just so many knockoffs out there now that this one is definitely a knockoff of the Creality. And the printer is relatively quiet. It's just that I think mine has a faulty fan. So the fan does rattle a little bit. See, I have the nose raised a little bit right there because when I put fur, I do want that little lip right there, which is good. No, the fan, I think something's up. I think it's hitting something inside some people said that some of the artilleries that came with the fans on the bottom were having issues. I just have to contact the company, and they'll send you the bottom part that makes the fan like blow out the side instead of the bottom. And they said that helps the problem, because it looks like it's a common issue. It's just the fan's just noisy. But I mean, it doesn't matter to me. Mine lives in the garage, so it's whatever. I think I'm gonna shove a plane in here to kind of keep this straighter. Alright. Let me add a new piece. We are going to insert a plane 3D. Woo! So exciting. So I just wanted to shove this in the mouth. Just to kind of flatten the side, I mean the top part of the mouth. I'll have to see. It might be overkill and I might not need to do anything, but I guess it comes down to if I can see it. I don't think I can see it. Actually, let's not do a plane. Actually, delete that. I'm gonna make something else. That's fine. I'm gonna do a cube because it'll be easier for me to see. I think the plane, because it's, well, it's a plane. I'm gonna do it with this instead. It gets to eat its waffle. Eat it. Rotate this. This is just for me more than anything, so I can have a really flat area when I'm casting, since I'm not doing my typical. So I'm trying to see if this is something I could do. Oh, hello, Revo Color. Thank you for the follow. Trying to see if I want that there. Might be overkill, but I'm gonna try something before I give up on it. Aw, thank you! She's just mawing down on a little cracker here. Little chewy cracker. So let me see if the move tool will do X. Let's see if I could do that. And then I could just grab this and hide it in there. Yeah, that should work out fine. Yeah, look at that. Cool. This way, I mean, yes, this is like a really kind of cheap trick to do this, but I'm printing it and then I'm turning it into a solid object. So yeah, I'm doing some no things to do. If you're of course going to animate this, you do not do intersecting geometry like I'm doing, because it's, yeah, it's not great, but that's okay. I'm doing it to flatten the top here and I think it'll be fine. See if I can kind of cut this down a little bit here. No, not a standard. I need a damn standard. Actually, no. That's gonna lead to some problems. That's just overkill anyways. Let me move that back there. So, okay. Last time when I did the first print, which was like my first big print, it took 5 days total, which was an overkill because I did it on a high quality print and I did a lot of stuff that I shouldn't have because I wasn't sure how to change the settings very well. And I was very new to Cura. But now that I know that I can cut the prints in half if I do, well, the time, because I was cutting them in half anyways. If I cut the print in half, I should be able to get each half done in a day. So I'm gonna try to get it done in like 2.5 days, and that would be, you know, day and some hours for each side, because I'm gonna cut it right in half. I'm pretty happy with this Grumpo boy. I like how this is looking. I'm inflating this area here a bit so the cheek is not as flat. And when I change the nozzle on my printer to something bigger, I'll be able to print pretty quick anyways. But right now my nozzle is a 0.4 millimeter, which is small. And that's the standard that came with the printer. I ended up buying a couple more, like a 0.6 and a 0.8 and a 1. So it just comes down to like how much detail I want on these things, and most of these bases I don't need like crazy details. So I do plan on making a nostril nose for this one as well. So I'm going to keep this nose, and then I'm going to make a nostril version, and the nostril version will just be printed in resin. And then that way, when I do the foam casts, I can get away with just having the one without the nostrils on the foam cast. So if you wanted to just stick to this look, you can. But if you wanted a more detailed like nostril nose, you can definitely do that too. But you would just plug in the nostril nose on top of it. You can just cut the foam one off and put the resin nostriled one. And I mean, you could also, I mean, I could also cast it in foam if I wanted. But for all the little details and stuff, I'm going to want that nose casted in a harder material. It just makes the heads a little more modular, so that way I can take stuff off and put other things on. So all the stuff I'm doing right now is just a lot of like little tweaks here and there that will really give it the look I want. And I definitely want to do the teeth that would go specific to this cast itself. Because I want to give this one some big old chompers. See, I just open my mouth when I'm looking at teeth. I'm like, yeah. And when I print these, I'm only printing from the cheeks forward. So this whole area here gets cut, so it doesn't matter if this kind of looks like whatever. Because that goes bye-bye. I see a little bit of that thing sticking out there, so let me move that. Move you. Go hide. Like, I don't want to see you. Oh no! Too strong. So that way it's got nice long smile line here, and then it's got a little cheek bump, and then I'll make little teethies hang out over here, more teethies hang out back here, because that'll really show the teeth in there. So I like the grumpy ones that show the back tooth a lot. Like over here, and then has another little sneaky tooth over here. Some of these lines are pretty nice to draw, just because it helps me a lot when I'm gluing. So because these things will transfer over to the foam work, it's just a helpful guide. It's this smile, I'm going to kind of cut it more because it's going to be a little more forced, but this is mostly for me. Like I said before, some of the stuff should be a little forced, because sometimes when the features are really soft and not as indented, like not as like in your face prominent, when you do the foam cast, you lose a lot of detail. So that's the one thing I've seen with some of the 3D prints. Sometimes the details are really soft, and they just don't pass over very well. I'm trying to avoid that, because I mean, if you're going through the trouble of doing everything on the computer, why not make those features really stand out? You can also mask a lot of area, especially if you only want to work on one piece and it's not on a different layer. And that way you're not terrified of accidentally moving stuff that you shouldn't. Because sometimes you do, but I mean, you can always go back. You can delete that, like I'm doing there. Like just Control Z that. Since I was not doing that, I want my damn standard. So pretty happy with this. That was one thing I really wanted to do with this one was make the muzzle longer. I did the other one a little short. So I definitely wanted to give that a little bit more length. So with these videos, I'm going to be uploading them on YouTube. So anybody who wants to look back, if they want to build one of these heads too, I guess they can at least look back and see sort of what I did. Because I try to keep this pretty simple, because I'm still very new to the program. But I think it'll be fun for people who are just getting into the program, who want to build something like this. It's not the scariest thing in the world. Just give it some time. Give yourself some time to learn what the tools do. That's the thing that was the most frustrating at first, because I wasn't sure what I wanted with this program. That's the other thing too. It's like, oh, I wanna make suit heads on this. It's like, okay, cool, that's great, but um, have you thought about how and like what you're gonna print it on, like what you're gonna do? Because at first, I mean, I did not have the printer, and I was like, well, I'll just send it to my friend and he'll print the stuff for me. But there's so much tweaking that I've done that I'm really, really glad that I went ahead and got my own printer. Because at first I was thinking, well, I'll just send all these to Frazzy and he'll just print them for me. But I've been printing so many tests and tweaking things and seeing things up close and seeing what works and what doesn't work. It's really nice to have this uh, a printer at home, and then you can really see what works for you. Because for a little bit I was like, yeah, I'm probably just going to use another printing place and they can take care of it and I don't have to worry about it. Because the first printer that I got, I the back in like 2012, I didn't use it as much because the print size was so small. So it kind of became a paperweight for a long time, and I was somewhat regretting having gotten that printer. And then I got a resin printer, and I realized, wow, I really, really love 3D printing. But then I started looking into large 3D printers again, and if you go online, there's just so much information on this is the best large format 3D printer, or this is the best one. And now with all these crazy printers and every price range, it's actually kind of tough to find uh, information that just that works for you. Because I mean, everybody's going to tell you, no, this printer is better than this other printer and you shouldn't touch this printer and blah blah blah. And I kind of read a little bit of that from even stuff as popular as the Creality. And I was going to get a Creality. I mean, I had my Amazon ready to get one of those, and I was like, well, it's a bit more than I wanted to spend. I guess I'll save up a little bit and get this one. And then when my friend Matt got the Artillery, which is the one that I'm using right now, and it was like $200 less than the other one, and it was the same build size, it was kind of a no-brainer to just go with that if it worked. And then I started seeing that people loved it. Like, they loved it. And I was like, okay, this is weird. This printer is a whole lot less and people love it, and it's got the same print size. Why is nobody really talking about this printer? It's kind of nuts. And I think it's just because it's really new. And the customer service, according to people, I haven't used customer service yet. They said it's great. So I'm glad I jumped back into it, because I was really scared, like, oh goody, I'm gonna get something and it's gonna be another paperweight because I'm not gonna use it correctly, or it's gonna fail on me all the time and it's just not gonna be worth it. But no, it's been fun. It's really kind of thrown me back into 3D, and I was not expecting to get into it again. I mean, I barely have time to sleep, but I just get so excited working with this, and it's really neat to see these prints come to life. I just have too many ideas. That's the problem. Too many hobbies, too much work, too much everything. But man, sometimes it's hard to turn your brain off. You just want to create. Ah! Hi, Caribrew. I'm so sorry I'm using your work in progress, but she's too beautiful not to use. 'Cause she cute. Plus, I'm in my pajamas, so I'm not decent. So she's a good bass to put on. Yes, too much everything, not enough time. That's pretty much my problem. Oh no, you're good. Yeah, I hid her little arms. No, I love her so much. You have no idea. I show her to everybody. You're like the best. She's beautiful, and I love her. I love her a lot. She's gonna get a ton of use, so So you're gonna see her mug everywhere. Everywhere. I love that you gave me a ton of teeth. Ah! Yeah, she's like super expressive. That's the thing. It's like I like move my head around and she does such a cute job. Look at that. Like my little ears. I'm like a bird. I stare at this thing and I'm just like, oh look, I can move my mouth, and I'm just making like noises in front of my camera. And my boyfriend's like, what's wrong with you? Why are you talking to yourself? I'm like, I'm not talking to myself. It's a cute little fox. It's just fun. It's literally like wearing a digital fursuit, which I like, and I just don't have to like cover my eyes completely, and I can do a whole lot more than I would with a fursuit because oh my goodness, gaming with a fursuit was was not as fun as I thought it would be. So using this character will be really good. Oh boy, I'm getting there on this one. Cleaning it up because I really want to get this guy like printed this weekend. My boyfriend did a run to Reynolds. Reynolds is an amazing place. It sells all the Smooth On products, and that's where we get all of our resins and our expanding foam, all the goodies. And we got a bunch of new stuff. So I got a bunch of silicone. So I'll be able to print quite a few of these and start to actually make the molds. And because printing these things takes a little bit of time, it'll be really nice to start doing them in batches so I can have one after another after another. I'm gonna flatten around her mouth. Not that big. So who is going to MFF? So I know I've asked that before, but who's going and when are you going to be there? Because I'm going to be arriving on Friday. Since Thursday, I know I'm going to be killing myself like the night before always. Finishing last minute everything. So I'll definitely see whoever is going on Friday. We're finishing a bunch of suits in time for the con. I think there's literally going to be like 15 new Mixed Candy suits at this con. We are finishing so many this month, and a ton of them happen to be going to the con, so I'm just like, oh, well, that's going to be a big Mixed Candy photo shoot, which I'm really, really excited about. Yeah, it's getting real close. It's weird to think like, oh my goodness, I thought like MFF was not that long ago, and it's like, no, it was a year ago. But it's such a busy such a busy season because of, you know, the holidays and everything kind of coming up, and Christmas and just like, oh my goodness, New Year's. So the previous year, this January, so it was like MFF, and then immediately I ran over to Japan to do JMOF, and I did that for 2 years in a row. And while JMOF is amazing, oh my goodness, it is tough to fly over there like on the 8th of January. Like, geez, like, hey, Happy New Year. Okay, bye. And with MFF and everything, I swear MFF just drains me. It's such a good con, but it is a doozy. I mean, I see a lot of people, which is great, but I also go kind of nuts buying everything in the dealer's room because some amazing dealers go to that con. And I'm taking my brother this year to his first MFF. He's excited. And he's never really seen snow, so I really hope it snows because I think it'd be really cool to, you know, show him pretty much his first snow. Yeah, there's so many people going. It's kind of crazy because like the hotel situation gets kind of messy, but we happen to get a room in the main hotel. But at the same time, like next year, it's a big maybe if I'm gonna go because I really want to go back to JMOF, and because being a dealer at JMOF is awesome, so cool. So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it next year. It just gets to be busy. But I always have a really good time when I go. I'm always kind of panicked before I go because it's a busy time. But aside from that, it's such a good event. It is definitely worth it. So I was trying to explain to my brother, like, yeah, this is kind of like the big furry con that everybody goes to. He's just like, oh, but why compared to other cons? I'm like, just, I mean, it's pretty inexpensive for us to fly there. Like, ticket prices really dump during this time, at least to O'Hare for us in Florida. And I see a lot of international people going to this one. Because before, the one that I saw everybody going to all the time, and I was kind of bummed out I was missing it, was Anthrocon. And then I saw that Anthrocon was still bringing a lot of people. I mean, it still brings a lot of people. I'm not saying it doesn't. But it's not the go-to con, I'd say, anymore. MFF kind of took over that spot. So I stopped going to Anthrocon. Not that I dislike it, it's just that I think Anthrocon is just more for vendors. It's a vending con. Move these little bits here in the cheek. It's like little things that I like. Oh, Caribrew, I saw Laughlin's like full body avatar that you made for him because he had posted about it on Facebook. I really liked it. It's super duper cute. You did a really good job on that one. Yeah, Matt, you're how far from it? Like 3 hours or so? For me, it's a hike. I can't drive to that con. I mean, yeah, I'm in Florida. Yes, I can drive anywhere technically, but yeah, it's kind of far for me. Matt, I was thinking like if I went to AC, I'd just go to Cell, but I'd go with you and we could just like just take your truck and bring my things. Yeah, Caribrew, he posted it on his Facebook today or yesterday, because I follow one of, like, I think it's his personal Facebook, and it was so cute though. I really liked it. And I really like the moose one that you're making right now. It is awesome. He looks so good. Now you're making some really, really cute ones. I gotta get my brother to stream Death Stranding with the wolf one that you released, but we did a recolor of that one. Since he's getting the game tomorrow and I don't think I'm gonna see him all weekend. He's already warned us that we're not gonna see him anyways. Are any of you guys getting that game? Oh, thank you. Oh, no, Caribou, you made me so happy when I saw her, like when you started working on her, I wanted to cry. I showed her to everybody. I took a bunch of stupid little videos just doing faces and I sent it to just everybody. I'm like, look, I'm a cute little fox on the computer. So, no, dude, your stuff is so good. It's so good. I'm a big fan. So it's mutual. So I'm excited for Pokemon. I don't know if you guys are excited for Pokemon, but I am. I'm trying to figure out when I'm going to find time to play it. Because I got so much stuff to do for MFF, so... I think maybe I'll be playing it during Thanksgiving Day, but I'm just like, yay, Pokemon. I want that bunny. I was seeing all the leaked Pokemon today because my brother decided to show me everything and now I need to buy way too much merch. There's this cute little fox one. I keep forgetting his name, but it's like a new fox and I'm like, oh my goodness, I need all that merch now. I've been like a total Pokemon fan for way too long. But I love their stuff. They're so cute. And then I go to Japan and I'm like, I gotta buy everything at the Pokemon store. The Pokemon stores, because there's so many of them. Matt, you know how much I buy when I'm over there? It's ridiculous. My poor wallet is like, I hate you. Why did you spend everything you brought over here? I'm like, I guess I won't eat for the next week because I have bought Poke merch. Hey, I saw Robert go to the Pokemon Cafe. He said it was pretty cute. He said the food was so-so, which is kind of what I expected. But he said the experience was worth it. I just want to go grab onto that inflatable Pikachu. I mean, I pet that thing once when it was at Skytree. I saw it, I screamed, and I went towards it because I needed to pet it, and then I realized that it's like a spandex velour on the outside. But the whole thing's inflatable, but it's quiet. It does have a little fan in there. If you hug it hard enough, you can hear it. I mean, I must have looked like I was about to like kill this thing. And they're tiny. They're fat, but they're tiny, and I love them. And they move really, really funny. Your 12 pieces of luggage of Pokemon merch. Yeah, that's why Customs is like, what did you do in Japan? I'm like, I just bought all the Poke merch I could find. The good thing is when I get plushes and stuff, I just take the vacuum bags. Those really helped last time. And when I took suits over there too. Especially because if you're staying at Airbnbs, you know for a fact you can find a vacuum. So that was a big plus. Trying to see if I want to do anything else. I was kind of flattening some of these. Matt, are you coming with us to J-Moth, maybe? Because I think that one is going to make the most sense. Because even Roscoe's like, I'll go to that one again if we're going to go sell. Because it does make more sense to us. And you get to see all the cute Japanese suits. Because I am telling you, they're adorable. That style is just so cute. And they're so animated. It's actually really different to go over there if you've never seen them interacting. So you can tell that Japanese furries, at least like fursuiters, take things in a very different manner that a lot of the American suitors do. And I think this kind of goes a lot with some of the foreign, like European suitors and such. So for a little bit, some stuff was going around, like, you know, people were kind of poo-pooing on the idea of going, like, poodling and stuff. I mean, I don't care what people do in suit, because there are no rules. You have a fursuit. I mean, you want to wear one paw on your, I don't know, on your head and run around with that? Go for it. That makes you happy. But a lot of people are just like, no, I hate poodling. Don't do that. And I'm like, no, everybody's got a different reason for suiting. But you can tell that in Japan, you never ever see anybody headless. It's pretty much just like taboo in a way. And if you're going to take your suit off for any reason, they'll go somewhere and take their suit off there. But it's never in public. You don't see them walking around the halls with their head in hand or anything like that. So it was different. It was very different. I wasn't used to that, and it was kind of neat. It was weird because it felt like, you know, furry back in the day, where it's like, oh, you gotta, you know, preserve the magic kind of thing, which I mean, I get it. But they're super into their characters, and the whole anonymity of being in suit, it's a big deal for them. Plus, then a lot of them don't like you taking photos of them, and you might post it on, you know, online and not blur their face, and they could get in trouble. And so I think them being in suit all the time makes a lot more sense than here in the States. Because over here, I don't know if they get in trouble, or they just, or it's shameful or anything like that. But we definitely don't care as much over here, like who's in suit and who's out of suit. It's different. If you do decide to take your suit off over there, it's not like people like get mad at you, but you will definitely not fit in if you're gonna be running around with your head in your hand. And it does get hot. The cool thing is you're gonna have to see how they're built. They're built super weird. Like, it's just, there's some build styles that are very similar to American builders, which I'm like, all right, they're using a balaclava, they're doing this, and this, and they're building upon it. But you just grab some of them, and it's just, it's either ways that we don't do it anymore. Uh, like a lot of the stuff over there is not lined, which is weird for American suitors not to have like a lined head. But over there, it's common. It's really common. So there will be a lot of little things that, at least as a builder, I've noticed differences. The digigrade is super different, like super duper different. They don't have all the supplies we have available as we do here, so they improvise. Yeah, well, I don't know. It's like I did ask this because I was curious. They do have access to like resins and all that stuff. It's not, I mean, it's not like they live in like a country where they can't get stuff. I mean, they do. It's just that it's not common. So there was a lot of stuff that I was surprised that they were still using. Like, it's weird for professional makers here to use Sculpey a lot. It used to be really normal to use it, but nowadays you expect most makers to use resin for like hard parts. So little things like that, you're gonna see like little difference, like, oh, they're still using Sculpey for a lot of stuff. But then you think about it, like a lot of these people live in very small apartments, maybe not very well ventilated areas, or there's not a whole lot of space for you to set up an area to work with maybe something that's like releases chemicals and not healthy to breathe in. But so some stuff I understand it's like it's probably more restricted on where they live and how much they can keep in their house or apartment. But like for example, they love those dome eyes, the eyes that are all glossy and they look super different. I mean, they look straight up anime the entire time. While they're awesome, they're beautiful, they photograph really well. Watch people in like the videos and such. They always have a little fan around their neck. And at first I thought, oh, it's cute. They have a little fan. That's neat because when they get hot, they can blow some air into their face. Well, that fan has a multi-purpose thing because if you don't have a little fan blowing into your face, most of the time their eyes fog up and they're blind. The suitors are blind and they can't see anything. Because even if you might not see like the fogginess in the actual plastic of the eye, because it's either the eye's all sealed, they're still getting fogged up inside, and you don't see that they literally can't see. So their vision is really impaired, and I noticed this because I saw some of them kind of bumping into you, and it's cute because it's a suit. It's not like they have to see perfectly. It's okay. I don't mind cute cuddly things bumping into me. It's totally fine. But you could definitely tell that they could not see as well as you would, like for example with like mesh eyes. And they have really big blind spots, cuz check out where their eyes are compared to the proportion of the head. You kind of don't see out of the eyes at the same time. You almost pick one eye to see out of, and then you just kind of bobble your head back and forth, which is fine. It kind of adds to the whole like, oh, he's being cute. No, he's actually just can't see very well. Even though their eyes are gigantic, it's just they're really, really far apart. So, so yeah, definitely like even without the fogginess, the vision on the big ones, like the there's a maker over there. I'm probably gonna end up botching his name. He goes by Atelier. Atelier. The second part is like Amana Jaku or something like that. I probably completely botched that, but that person, his team, they produce a lot of suits in Japan, and they're super, super cute. But you can tell that they work with, it's almost like you have to fit a certain size, which makes sense. Like in Japan, a lot of people are very similar in size, and they're smaller than I would say a lot of people in the U.S. That they don't work off of dummies. They have like we have like a small, medium, and large kind of thing, because they never fully like fit. They're just like ish fitting. They're cute though. I love the look, but you can definitely tell built very different than American suitors. So there's so much stuff that you're like, oh, this is built different, and the way they even interact in suit is different. And they do something that I wish I was told the first time I went, because I felt really rude not knowing this. So if you ever go to JMOF or you go to a Japanese event and you're going to be suiting, make sure that you have business cards and you keep them with you while you're suiting. So you will watch a lot of the fursuiters hand out, these little cards, and the cards have the fursuiter's name, fursuiters like either Twitter, like Line. Instead of Telegram, they use Line a lot. And so ways to contact them, and it has a photo of the fursuit. So when you're done fursuiting and maybe you talk to them or you interact with them, they took photos with you, or you took photos of them, you can tag them back, or make friends and everything. I thought it was super cute. So when I went suiting, the year that I took Manuel the suit, I got a ton of little cards, and then at the end of me suiting for a couple hours, I had all these little cards. I had a little fanny pack that I was just putting stuff in there, and I had all these little cards. I still have them all from everybody that I met at the con, and it was really cute because then afterwards I was able to find these people and say, "Hey, it was really nice meeting you. I really liked your suit. Thank you." Or like, "Oh, I saw that your friend took photos of us. Do you mind linking it to me?" So it was a really cool way to just connecting with people. But I didn't know that. So I mean, I had like little mixed candy things that I was giving out, like little bracelets, but they definitely wanted more people using the little cards. So if you do go, have little business cards made, but with like your fursuit and your information and all that stuff, and have some sort of like little side satchel or like a fanny pack or a little backpack, and then that way you can trade cards with everybody, because people over there stay in suit for hours. They are marathon suitors over there, so it was really, really cool. And it's just a different experience, very, very different experience, and everybody's super sweet too. So bring those little business cards. And they love panels too. I think next time I do JMOF, I want to do. I didn't get to do it this year that I went because I just ran out of time. Because man, that is my thing. I run out of time. But I want to start it up a lot earlier. So I'm going to try to get help from somebody who speaks fluent Japanese, and I wanted to do a head carving tutorial, and I wanted to do an airbrushing tutorial, but have everything translated on the bottom. So I'm speaking English and then having somebody do the subtitles in Japanese. Because I talked to somebody about that earlier, and they said that would be great. And they have ways, to display it and such. And you can tell a lot of Japanese furries really want to practice their English, which is good. So that's why they said, no, it's fine if you do a panel in English, because a lot of people understand it and they want to, practice their English. But it's also a good idea if you did a video to have subtitles on the bottom, because that way I don't leave people out. I want people to interact and get to see what I'm doing with suit building, and then that way it's not like, well, I don't understand what she's saying. So I think it'd be something different and cool. So I'm gonna talk to people at the con for next year to see if I can have access to a little projector, and I can play some videos, and then somebody can help me translate some parts of the panel. That way I don't have to fly with a bunch of stuff. I can just bring the videos and just show them, and then afterwards upload them on YouTube. I'm pretty happy with the way this is looking. Trying to see if I like the thickness there. Yeah, I just want to do a little bit more. I did a fursuit head for charity for them, which actually worked out really well. The person that won was a furry in the US. So it was one of those like, oh. But I definitely want to help them with their charity, not this next year, but the following year. and that way I can see what I'm going to do for them. Because they do some really cute stuff. And they do like a photography contest, which I thought was really pretty. Alright, let me work on that nose. The booper. The snoot. Now I love going to Japan, so I'm probably really biased. I just wanted to have a little bit of a lip. Makes it easier for me to glue. Aw, thank you, Wheelie Husky. Thank you for hosting my stream. So I'm just kind of flattening this ledge so I can see I can butt the fur right up to it. I gotta change my little zombie people. I keep forgetting that I just have like my generic zombie person. But they're cute though. So this is the nose I'm going to keep just round. And then I'll make the nostril nose after. Just wanted to give this one a nice sharp edge. So Matt, when am I going to see you make your first sculpt? Because I know you have the same printer I do, so you have no excuses now. I don't know. No. That's not the answer I want to hear. Is the soon. I want to start this soon. I'm telling you, you start doing this and it's going to be hard to stop. You can make all the masks you've ever wanted to make. I'm telling you, it's something different to do. Since you're creative like I am, I think you're going to go nuts with this stuff. Well, what do you want to say carve? What do you want to sculpt? If you can pick one thing to start with, what would you like to do? Oh my goodness, Matt. 5 years? You gotta do something. Alright, that is pretty good. I think because this is gonna be printed, it doesn't have to be like, ooh, buttery smooth everywhere, you know? Because it's going to be covered under foam. And these noses and such, like I said, I'll be making another cast for these, but in resin. Oh, definitely, Matt. What what animal is it? Oh, kimono style. Oh, that'd be cute. Yeah. I'm telling you, if you're gonna start with something, I'd say stuff that's not common, like a rabbit or anything like that, is a complicated thing to start with. I mean, I usually tell people start with something like a canine until you're comfortable with like really doing other shapes. But I mean, I know you're really confident with shapes, period, but I mean, I've seen all your clay work and everything you have at your house. It's really awesome. Try to see if this is a good all-around shape. do something different on the eyes. Just looking at some art that I have and looking at a couple of the heads that I made that were grumpy. See if I wanted to alter anything. It's funny, I look at it from the side and like my character's like, hey! Did you break your neck? Speaking of kimonos, I just love the ram horns some fursuiters have implemented on their suits. I may get ram horns myself. Oh, I love like antlers and horns and stuff on suits. They're so cute. Especially soft ones, they're like my favorite. Heck yeah, antlers! I'm doing some large antlers on a suit that, it's not a caribou, it's a deer, after MFF. And I'm going to sculpt them and then print them because that way I can make the shape I want now that I know how my printer works and reacts, so I can get a cool shape with them. So I'm excited. Yeah, I'll stream it. I'll stream some antler making. It'll be interesting to see how my printer handles the supports for like the thinner stuff. But it's been working with PLA so well that I don't think it'll be a problem, and then that way I can seal them and then I can paint them and do all sorts of stuff. I got this stuff that you paint over PLA models, and it makes it really, really hard. It's pretty much like a resin that you pour over it and then you can smooth it. I mean, you can sand it because the thing comes out glossy. I don't need them to be glossy, but I do want them to be strong. I don't want them knocking it on things and breaking it. You'll probably poke someone's eye out, but you know, that's just part of being an antlered creature. Just don't get too close. Plus, I'm excited to try it because it's one of those things that for a while I didn't want to take too many deer because the casts that were out there for the antlers were either like too small or not the shape I wanted, and it was always tough because you'd get a customer, it's like, I really want this done, and you're like, oh, that's cool, that's really intricate, and it's like, well, am I gonna sit there and carve every little bit of foam, and then I have to cover it with fleece, and I have to do all this stuff, and I'm just like, I don't know. This just seems like too much of a pain in the butt for now. So I I didn't want to offer them too much until I knew for a fact I could really make some, you know, some cool antlers. Oops. So definitely want to offer them in the future now. I'm doing one, like I said, after MFF. And it should look pretty cool, I hope. Yeah, I like when noses have like this cute little upturn. So I tried to put them in art too. I just like big noses. Clearly. And a lot of the grumps that I've been doing lately have very large noses. So I think I'm going to continue that trend because noses are cool. And I want to keep them big. But it'll be neat to create like a smooth version of this one for the people that don't want one with nostrils, and then do a same shape but give it, you know, big old nostrils, because I like both types. I like either like the super clean, just very toony shape, or the one that has like big pickable nostrils so I can stick my fingers in my nose, because that is very ladylike. Yeah, that is a boop. A boop snoot. So hopefully this process hasn't been too crazy boring to watch. Especially because you will see me do so many little tweaks. Let's just go back, I move that, I realize, okay, this is too thin. And that's why you see me like rotate this from the top, move it again, kind of do its thing, go at it again, and it's pretty much how I do all these. Because I mean, I do the same thing with a regular sculpt out of foam. Just go back in, push some stuff around, and do it again until I get the look that I want. So there's a lot of these I'm always like, no, go back, change that, add this, move this. But because it's 3D, I can. I mean, it's like real clay, just less mess. And I don't have to work in the garage. I can work where there's AC. Which is always a plus. Alright. I think I'm about done with the shape, at least that I like. Alright, did not want that. Make that bigger. every little bit. Okay, let me figure out this nose here. Oh, that's why. Wanted to see why that wasn't working there. Hello, Reen Husko. That's a cute sticker. I like your sticker. Ah, that's what it was. I was like, what is moving the nose there? Make this line again a little bit more forced. Go back in there, since this will definitely help me when I'm furring. And that is going to get moved. Where are you, nose? So I try to kind of join, see, like the edge of the nose to kind of connect with this little line here. These are things that when I fur heads, I use certain lines to help guide me. And I think about it with these heads as well. So we can go up and then up into the nose right there. So these are things that I'm thinking about when I do get to fur this. It'll just help me. Help me in the future. Cool. So I think we got a grump going. Say flatten, 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 flatten. Maybe flatten a little bit here on the sides. Just want to flatten these sides a little bit more. So the nose bridge is just a little bit more defined. I don't want it to be huge and really protruding. There's some on my current casts that I have. I think that area protrudes a little too much, and sometimes I end up cutting it down a lot. And a lot of my grumps don't have a super crazy protruding just ridge, muzzle, like nose ridge. Alrighty. So yeah, I think I am pretty happy with the shape. So I will show you what I do with this. So I have all these pieces here together. And I have the nose, and I have the skin head, the main skin. And then that's the ball that's inside. And then that's the flat layer that's inside my muzzle, since I was just kind of intersecting geometry. And that's the main head that I have that had all the pieces divided out. But it keeps it, even if you remesh it, it's in there. So you got that, your nose, all these. All right. Do, do, do. Oh yeah, you can make a whole thing like that too. Forgot about that. So, do, 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 do. So if you guys didn't know about this, this program has something really cool called see-through. So I could have a bunch of art behind me on my desktop, and if I wanted to sculpt this, pretty much using the art as reference, or just kind of, putting this on top of the art and sculpting around it, you can do this, and I'm going to show you. I can make the program see-through. Isn't that weird? So my background is just mountains right now, but see, I can still interact with this, and it's see-through. But I could have all the artwork and everything back here and just kind of sculpt and follow what's in the background, which I thought was crazy. I saw somebody doing it like this and I was like, what? That is weird. So check that out. But yeah, that's something that I thought was cool. Yeah, it's got, I swear it's got some really cool things. This program impresses me like every single time I play with it. So I have all this stuff here, but I have that's the main head. I don't want the main head. So we are going to delete main head. Oh, wait. Cancel. Actually, I can just, let's put you down here. At that. Yeah, that's in there. See that. See that. Why are you not? Why are you still showing up? Let's see if I can delete this one, because I just don't want this stupid thing. Yay. Okay. Goodbye. So now I have all the pieces that I really want to keep. So I have the nose, my skin, the sphere thingy, that's just for me, and then I have that skin thing and the roof of the mouth. Again, this is kind of more for easier to cast and stuff and print. Little things here and there. I'm trying to see if I need something else. I think it's fine. So we are going to join all these. We are going to we are going to merge it. Let me change to my mouse. We're going to merge down, and it's going to say you can't go back, and yeah, it's fine. And then I'm going to merge down, and then I'm going to go okay, and then I'm going to merge again. You're going to go okay. So now all this stuff is one thing only. See, so it's all the same color now. So if I move the nose now, it affects the muzzle, it affects everything, which is fine, because I'm going to do an export. I'm going to export this thing, and it's going to go on my desktop, and we're going to do Super Grump. Just name it something. I swear all my stuff is just stupid. But Super Grump. Head, print, and then Zbrush. So I know this isn't the one that I'm going to print right away. And that's going on my desktop, and it's an OBJ. So pretty much every program can read OBJs, and I'm going to make a new folder because then I'm going to be mad at myself I didn't. Grump dog files. Alright. And I'll put it here because I got the other dog head up here. and we're going to move Grump Dog in here, and then I'm going to do Super Grump in there. And if I were to double click on Super Grump, if everything passed over correctly, we'll be able to see it. Yay, look at that. So it's a single piece right now. It is Super Grumps. There you go. Ooh, look at that. So I just use, this is just from Windows. It lets you, see your file. And it's got this doo-doo thing back here, and we just want to get rid of that because we just want to flatten this thing. So this way is how I check all my OBJs. Oh, like, oh, look, it's great. Whatever. So now we can close this program. So we're going to name that Grump Dog 2. I save things like a million times over because I'm just terrified. It's just something that when I was in college, or like save it a million times because it's going to get corrupted, something's going to happen to it, and it's going to go just wrong. So now I'm going to open Mesh Mixer. This program, Autodesk Mesh Mixer, is free, which is awesome. So we're going to look for our file, and it's under Grump Dog Files, and it's Super Grump. We're going to open it, and then this head is right there. So this program is a curiosity. See? Ooh, look at that. Yay! So I already see some red stuff, which means something's wrong with my thing. Something's real wrong in there, which, I mean, makes sense and everything. I did have a bunch of intersecting geometry. The thing is going to tell me, buddy, you did some stuff wrong, and so you can do all this. And you might not want to print it like that. So we're going to go to, I use this for printing. Analysis. So I'm going to do Control A. I'm going to choose the whole thing, and I'm going to analyze it. So inspector, actually. See, okay, so these are my issue areas. So if I were to print this as is, these areas might cause issues with my print, and I don't like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to fix these. So I can do flat fill, minimal fill, smooth fill. I usually do like a smooth fill or a flat fill. You do auto repair, and it fixed it. And you're done. And it's done. So it's fixed. How crazy is that? The thing is fixed. So, but that's not the end of it. We want to grab, now I have to remember how to do all this, because I swear to you, I'm still learning how to do all this stuff. We want to make it, I want to make it a, as I'm reading all this stuff again, I want to make this a solid. We want to make it not hollow, make solid. But see, it created some weird stuff in there. We're gonna go for accurate. Let's see if we can update that. Oh, but it's still doing some weird, funky stuff in there. Which actually, if it's causing that issue, I may just delete the file. So this is the other thing too. So it's like making it a solid, but you want what accuracy you want, the density, all these things that you want to change. So now the thing is an actual solid, which is cool. And you can make, I mean, right now it's like, yeah, I lost some details and everything like that. You could definitely take it back into Zbrush and alter it in there and do some other stuff to kind of bring it back. But clearly it did not like that area there. So I did that as an extra thing. I think it was just kind of funky. So what we're going to do is, I'm actually going to go back to ZBrush. I'm just going to delete that thing and bring it back over. But these are things that it's good to, go back and forth, see what works, what doesn't work. But the good thing is Mesh Mixer will always tell you if something is wrong and if something is definitely wrong with your file, which is nice. It's like, hey, you really messed this one up. You need to go back in and repair it, which is good. Plus it's free. It's good to have. My file's taking forever. Okay, so it opened an older file, which I don't want. Where are my quick saves? No. Let's see if it opens that one. If not, I'll have to. Well, I'm gonna be calling it a night here soon, anyways, because it is. What is it? Almost one. Yeah, it's almost 1 in the morning. But I can definitely continue this setup thing that I wanted to show you guys in I guess, a third part series of this on what to do, on how to prepare the files before you send them to the printer. So it's almost there. It's so close. I just want to get back in there, and I want to delete the dumb thing that I added in the palette of the mouth because I was trying to flatten it to kind of help myself, but I think I made it a little bit more complicated. So definitely think creating a third part to this, because right now it's just doing its thing, would be good. So I'm definitely going to say good night to everybody. This is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go ahead and delete that piece because you are creating some problems. Yeah, and I'll just leave it alone. And then I'm going to do a quick save. There you go. So definitely come back for the third part. I'm going to go ahead and test some things myself because there are things, I swear to you, when you jump around from one program to another, you kind of have to like just remember what to do. So what I need to do is, what I was showing you guys, is make the whole thing into a solid. Once I make it into a solid, I need to cut the back, and then I need to create a thickness around the walls of the actual shape. So that way when it prints, it's not paper thin, it still has a little bit of thickness all around, and then it prints out hollow, so I use less material, less PLA when I'm making it. So this will be really interesting. I'm still kind of on the fence if I wanted to do this as one solid build. I still want to do that, half and half, make my print one day-ish. So definitely I'll do a third part series to this. I will upload this one as my second part. If you didn't watch the first part, that will make a lot more sense how this head kind of came to be. Thank you very much for coming and keeping me company. You guys were awesome. And thank you for the ones that subscribed and the ones that were hosting me as well. Thank you, thank you. Hopefully I wasn't too chatty, too all over the place with stuff. It's been super fun. And I'll definitely try to stream again either later this week or next week, but probably later this week. So thank you again. I will see you guys later. Bye.